We are back with the 3-year-olds, man. We had some exits in the last little while. Brilliant Corners out, Blue Monk out. And for those of you saying, oh, well, why couldn't we just hang on to those horses and race them in the classes above the claimers? I don't know how they looked the last couple of weeks. Blue Monk was put back in the same class, I believe, and didn't look very good at all. And Brilliant Corners, they thought they were going to make a stake horse out of him, and that didn't work also. I mean, guys, we're doing the best we can, but when you're talking about people like Mario or Jason or Johnny or Harry or anybody, they know what they're doing too. And when it comes to the horses, when they've proven that, hey, we're not a grassroots horse, there's nothing wrong with that, but finding a proper place for them is paramount. There's no, it's not fair to expect, to expect horses to go above and beyond. They are what they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. So Adrenaline Rush, one of the last 3-year-old sophomore pacing colts that we have, him First Glance, a couple other ones, but Adrenaline Rush finally drew better this week, drew the 2-hole. They said he trained good this week. I'm expecting a good result from this horse going into this week's race. What day is it today? It's Sunday. I think he's racing tonight. Into tonight's race, I expect him to do well. First Glance has been racing out of his skin all year and has been doing a great job. A lot of people messaging me concerned about moving the sophomores. Can we not keep them? I saw on the message board somebody had written, can First Glance not race at Northfield? No, he can't, because he'll never be worth more than he's worth right now. Showing great miles every week. I would suspect he'll get to 50, 60,000 made by the time Harrisburg rolls along. Big, strong, gray colt, not too many wins, not too much money made. It'll be worth quite a bit of money at Harrisburg. So for those of you out there that are hoping that we're going to retain horses like First Glance or Adrenaline Rush or I'm a Lovely Lady, any of those horses, we aren't. We're not like this fall to do that. So First Glance, racing good. I hope he continues to race good straight into the fall. Aguilera AM, another question mark. Now, this filly doesn't have as much money made as she should. Not even close. But at the same time, if she hasn't reached any watermarks heading into the fall, this is a filly we could retain. I think you'll see her best work done at 4, done at 5. So is it necessity? Is it a necessity to move her at 3? Maybe not. So a little bit different situation in that regard. I'm a Lovely Lady. This filly's got upwards of 75,000 US made or something like that. Like 3 or 4 wins now. She'll probably push that win total up into 4, 5, 6 by the time Harrisburg, or as Johnny had pointed out to me, On Gate is an option also. So when you're looking at horses that visually make sense to sell, First Glance at Harrisburg is probably likely, because he's a big, strong gray horse and people will definitely gravitate towards him. Horses of that nature, where you're looking at I'm a Lovely Ladies, maybe a little bit smaller, maybe On Gate makes a little more sense. So a mix of both, I think, makes sense for this fall. Italian Grid, he's not long for us. Not impressed with his output lately, and he's just a middle-of-the-road condition claimer. I'm sure somebody will want him, but we put him in that class to do well, not to race. So I would suspect, Travis had called me last week and said he wanted to try a few things with him. Try what you will, but as I said, I hope we can find the winner's circle with this guy very soon. Jazzy Judy. Now, Harrisburg, a little bit different situation. Here's a big, strong, good-looking filly with the last major stake races still ahead of her when Harrisburg goes, right? So a little different situation there. I definitely would have no interest in giving Jazzy Judy away. I'm very interested to see what she's going to do for the next month. Ready to go again right now. Let's see what she looks like over the next month and then go from there. But I would suspect you're probably going to see Jazzy Judy show up in Harrisburg right before her last stake of her life, her 3-year-old season, is shaping up. Miss Meringue is back home now. She's here to race in the condition claimers. Yeah, at the end of the day, this filly is worth more than she's worth, if that makes sense to you. She's worth more than she's worth on the open market right now. Her price tag would be fairly diminished right now, and I think there's a little bit more there. So we're going to race Miss Meringue here in the maiden. I know a lot of people are saying, well, she got 4 wins. This is the only jurisdiction left that counts fair wins as wins, but the reason they count fair wins as wins is because the fairs are parimutuel events. Last year they were not parimutuel events. There were no parimutuel events in Ohio at the fairs because of COVID. So that rule previously used in Ontario does not count this time around. Miss Meringue is a maiden across the board everywhere right now. Mama Knows Best, again, going to put some money on her card, get some good races in her, and then we'll see what she's worth later on in the fall. My Jazz, same type of situation. She's had a very rough year, to say the least, but she's coming forward. I think we got her where she's in a manageable place now. We'll see. This week will be a big week for My Jazz. Let's see how that looks. No Free Lunch obviously got injured, had a line in his coffin bone. He'll be back, I would suspect, the first part of the year. Northern Blizzard, I trained him. That foot's still bothering him. It's still biting him. He took a fairly big chunk out of it. It was nasty. They're working on getting him sounded up now. I saw him jog. This is Sunday. I saw him jog right before I was leaving for the farm. Still a little pinchy on it. Now, I trained him yesterday. Still a little pinchy on that foot, but we'll work forward with him. Perfect Record's going to be ready to go soon enough. I'd say within the next 2 weeks in Ohio. Where's he go? I don't know. Pennsylvania? I don't think Northfield Park would suit him very well. Maybe the Meadows, or maybe he can come home to Mohawk. But either way, he'll likely just race, put some good lines on him. Another horse we're looking to maybe move in the fall. Rose Run, Why Not? Here's a filly. I think if we can keep her sound, she has lots ahead of her. This filly has got lots to offer. She's getting big, strong. I really, really like this filly and always have liked this filly. So we'll see what she offers. She's not really in the same boat as everybody else. She has no one win. Not a lot of money made, so a filly that I think has a lot to offer moving forward for the stable.ca. Sweet Ambitions, very frustrating horse again. Much like War We Welcome, I think that she has a lot more to offer than she's putting out. Maybe a little sicker last start, so we're going to treat her up and race her again at Grand River on Wednesday. Tanzanite Tricks has been absolutely fantastic. I don't know where we look for this filly. You know, she's now got 3-4 wins. She's got at least 2 wins more in that class at the Meadows. Can she do in the class above? Probably. We'll see. Where do we start to look for her? What do we do with her? I think she's somewhere in between keeping and selling. You know, she's going to be worth quite a bit of money in the fall again. There's going to be a lot of people, I know a lot of people listening and saying, this is not right. We're selling all our horses that we watch race. That is because you don't understand what is ahead for those horses. These horses in particular, Tanzanite Tricks, when she gets up around 8 wins and 50,000 made, she is a buoy. There is nowhere to go with her other than a claimer. So I understand there's a lot of people out there that are going to be, well, I don't want to sell these horses, and I don't want to sell the 3-year-olds. I get that. I get that there's a connection. Those horses have been a lot of fun to watch race and a lot of fun to campaign together. But at the same time, you have to understand, you might love watching Tanzanite Tricks win 2 in a row. It might turn into 4 in a row, but I guarantee you it won't be 10 in a row. You know, at some point she's going to find it very, very difficult when she takes the field. And we don't want to be there to watch her finish 7th, 8th like we did at Mohawk. It wasn't much fun for me, and as I'm sure it wasn't for you. And that cycle will repeat itself at some point. Unless, you know, she dramatically changes and starts trotting in 53, 54, then you're like, oh, okay, fine. I just think she's a really nice filly, probably going to take a mark of 55, decently bred, got some speed, can race on any size track. Probably a good filly late in the fall for somebody to say, hey, I can race this filly, I can breed this filly, I can do what I want. That is likely the path we're going to take with a number of these horses. Tanzanite Tricks may make her way onto that list also. Tipsy and Dixie most definitely is. There's a filly with 100,000 made now, 100-some thousand made now. I think she got to 100 grand made, and like 5 wins. 0 places to race her other than a Fillies and Mares Open, which she can't do it. Not right now. 4-year-old season's tough on a horse like her. She's growing into a bigger body. Again, Tipsy and Dixie will likely be sold this fall. And, you know, I get the emails. I see the emails. And I understand where a lot of people are coming from. But you don't know what lies ahead. You know, you see what you see right now in front of you, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. I have to look months in advance. How does Tipsy and Dixie look as a 4-year-old? 130,000, 40,000 or more on her card. You know, 5, 6, 7 wins on her card. There is nowhere to race that mare. Nowhere. Not here. Not anyway. Not really in Northfield unless you want to race against 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old geldings, colts and geldings with hundreds of thousands of dollars on their card. That's what lies ahead for some of these horses. Now, there are people, Saratoga, Yonkers, you can say, oh, Jesus, she can get around half good. There's lots of races there for her. Okay, if you think so, that's great. That's where Tipsy and Dixie will likely end up. And it won't be for the stable.ca. I need everybody to understand that moving into the fall season. Walk on the Moon, another horse. I think there's money to be made there. There's not an implicit rush to get him sold. There are thresholds. If we can make 50, 60, 70 with horses before they start getting in trouble with classification and wins, then we should make that money and make those wins with them. Walk on the Moon's got what, 2, 3 lifetime wins? 40, 50,000 made? There's room. Lots of room still for Walk on the Moon. War We Welcome, she's leaving. There's no two ways about that. War We Welcome has got a lot more to offer than she's willing to offer. And, she's pretty much outstayed her welcome at the stable. I can assure you of that. One My Heart Hanover will come back. She's probably going to make her way onto this list also. Most of the 3-year-olds, most of the horses, unless I believe they can transition into a very deep, very difficult 4- and 5-year-old season, then we will likely look to move most of them. So that is where we're at with the 3-year-olds. I know that we'll continue to push this agenda. We'll continue to show people exactly what our, I wouldn't call them policies because they're still very flimsy, but where our objectives are and how they lie ahead for all these horses, including most importantly, the sophomores here at the stable.ca. So those are the 3-year-olds. I'll be back in a second with all the 2-year-olds, what my thoughts are on their year so far, what I think they're going to do moving forward, what our plans are with them. If they're in the stable right now, they're likely going to stay in the stable, but we will see as the fall comes.